Hey lovers, welcome back to In Bed with Kate, where we talk all things sex, intimacy, and everything in between. Today's topic is hot and confusing at the same time. It can be magnetic and exciting, but by the end of the day, it will most likely fuck you up. So today, In Bed with Kate will tell you exactly how to tell if you are in bed with a narcissist. In the past few years, more and more people are struggling from toxicity of narcissistic abuse. And statistics shows that this personality disorder is on the rise. Looking at my friends who more and more often encounter narcissistic dates and partners, looking at our politicians, and of course an famous P. Diddy trial, I think we can all agree on the fact that there are more and more narcissists and psychopaths in a public sight. So if you have ever had a mind-blowing sex but left the bedroom emotionally drained, confused, or doubting your worth or even your reality, this video is for you, because nobody will return you one thing, time that you waste on people who don't deserve it. So first, let me explain why sex with narcissist is so intoxicating. Narcissist is a serious personality disorder that needs to be addressed. 75% of narcissists are men, and these people will make you fall in love with them and then hurt you and drain your energy because something is just really broken in them, and most of the times they are not self-aware enough to admit it and start working on that, start doing some shadow work, because they often think that they are always right and entitled to do whatever they want. Sex with a narcissist can feel so passionate, intense, and even addictive. And these people usually learn sex, so they know what they are doing. They will make you feel good, they will make you come really hard. But they do all of this to make you addicted, to get this narcissistic supply, which is your emotional reaction. So let's start with some signs, some red flags that could tell you that you're probably having sex with a narcissist. And the first one is excessive use of mirrors during sex. So this one is a very obvious sign. And just to give you an idea, my narcissist ex was so obsessed with watching us, or probably him, having sex, that he would literally move mirrors even at the hotel rooms. So sometimes he would rearrange the entire room to make sure that he can see what's happening from different angles while he's having sex. They often use mirrors to observe their own performance, turning the experience into display rather than a mutual connection. So if they already have a mirror in their room, right, and if it's always been there, of course you cannot tell that this person is necessarily a narcissist. But if you both go on vacation or to the hotel, or you have sex in some place other than the bedroom where you always have it, and if before having sex he starts moving shit to make sure that he can see, that's where you might wanna take a closer look at other signs and habits. It might feel like they make all your fantasies come true in sex, but not because it was meant to be, but because they have studied you so well and they know exactly what you want, and they're ready to give it to you to hook you in the first place, right? For example, if you have high sex drive, it's a problem because you will fall for a narcissist. They can have sex all day long sometimes. They usually do have a very high sex drive. My narcissist sometimes wouldn't let me go to bed because he didn't want to, or couldn't stop having sex with me, like literally. As a result, you end up not only with a toxic narcissist, but also sleep deprived. With psychopaths, with narcissists, with bipolar people. Yeah, so like those kind of men usually would have higher than average sex drive. And if you need a lot of sex, this is what gets you on a hook. And another very obvious sign, some of them refuse to kiss in lips. Because kissing is a form of intimacy, and for narcissists, it is viewed as a weakness, as they lack empathy, so they can't express their feelings openly. They think that that makes them vulnerable, right? So they most likely will explain that they don't kiss in general and they are not lying. The first real French kiss was my narcissist happened only a few years into that. After we already had experienced all kinds of sex, from missionary to fisting and strap-ons. And of course, narcissist is always gonna try to film sex. Sometimes even without your consent. So it's good at least if they tell you about that and it's not a hidden camera. And they do it not for memories or a family album, but to enjoy looking at themselves while they're having sex and filming. Because what happens when narcissist is having sex with you, they actually, it's like they're having sex with themselves mentally, right? Because they're either looking in the mirror or they're looking on their phone or their camera while they're filming your intimate moments. And about this constant desire to film things, they might have endless selfies. They might always record videos of themselves driving, videos of themselves doing like some basic stuff that is not supposed to be and that's not meant to be filmed, even if they don't have any social media, even if they don't create any content. I'm telling you, my narcissist had like gigabytes of different footage, and he never even tried to turn it into a content or turn it into something, right? So it was about this addiction to filming himself. That's it. And whatever else was around him. And of course, risky behavior and demanding sexual acts. Risky behavior is one of the things that doesn't go well with a normal relationship. Narcissists tend to love fast driving. Mine was a racer, and in general, risking their life is thrilling to them rather than dangerous. They might constantly be in legal troubles because of their behavior. For example, one time he was driving dangerously on the freeway, changing the lanes, asked me to give him a roadhead, which I wasn't opposed to. I started doing that, but then I saw him changing lanes again. So we ended up being next to cops, right? So the cops were also driving on the freeway and they were parallel to us. And when I saw cops, I said like, what the hell? You know, we can get in trouble here. And he goes, that's the whole point. I want to film us playing with the cops on the background. And he got mad because I stopped. I would say check his name in a database of the court system. If he has lawsuits, speed tickets, and other baggage, that's a red flag. He might be not just a narcissist, but maybe a lot of other things, but it's worth checking up front. And many of them will be very creative in terms of sex, and it will never be boring. But they are doing it for the show. They are doing it to make you addicted to it if you are someone who also has a fantasy when it comes to sex and sexuality. So they want to make sure that it's your best sex ever, so it will be harder for you to leave. And they want to make sure that you will always come back. And these people are obsessed with their performance, with their penis, with how perfectly it works and how long they can last. and they constantly need validation, right? So they will always tell you, this is my best sex ever, is that your best sex ever? In my case, they tell me like, how you were even trying to have a relationship with someone else if you are married to my dick. They do it to psychologically abuse you moving forward. So they would care about how good they look, how amazing they are in bed, but they will constantly ignore your needs, your desires, and they have never heard about aftercare either. And the next one, love bombing turned cold shoulder. Initially, they may shower you with affection and attention, making the sexual experience feel intense and passionate. However, this can quickly shift to emotional distance or withdrawal, leaving you confused and yearning for this initial connection. The love bombing they do, it's tailor-made for you, and it's a manipulation designed to get you precious supply that is their lifeblood. You just have to keep reminding yourself that the person you love doesn't actually exist. They studied you and held a mirror up to you. Sex was amazing, and then silence. So hot and cold patterns are very common. What happens when you are a victim of narcissistic abuse is that your body is getting used to cortisol when they drop, and it's getting used to endorphins when they are back. And it becomes a normal state of swings that your body starts craving. That's why you can't break free from narcissists sometimes for decades. Your boundaries get tested repeatedly. They prioritize only their pleasure, often neglecting or dismissing their partner's desires and boundaries. They might be receiving oral for hours without even trying to give it back. This can manifest in lack of foreplay, ignoring feedback, or insisting on specific acts without considering your comfort and your boundaries. For example, my ex-partner took me to the adult store and said we were buying a strap-on, and today we pretend that I don't have a pussy, right? That I just have a dick, so that I could fuck him in the ass. Just because I'm sexually open and curious, I didn't say no, but he didn't ask me either, right? So I was deeply in love and not able to say no. Plus, I wanted to give him that experience that he had never had. And as much as he appreciated that, toxicity didn't disappear. They would push your limits just to see, and then gaslight you if you speak up. And they also have difficult relationship with sex if it's a real narcissist, not just a person with narcissistic traits. Sometimes they would experience a whole range of different emotions and attitudes towards sex, from being a sex addict that cannot stop having sex, to viewing sex as a sin, and even blaming you in their sins, basically. As crazy as it sounds, but it is true. I thought that it was only my narcissist, but then when I started researching this, it's actually very common. My narcissist could go from not letting me go to bed because he wanted to have more sex, and then like suddenly something flips and he is blaming me in his sinful life. He would either be super religious or he will disrespect religion. It goes back and forth and it constantly changes. And when you are with a narcissist, you are a trophy, not a partner. If you say something like, I didn't really enjoy it, they get defensive or make it about you being a problem. If you are good looking or successful, this will be a reason for them to show off and basically to prove their parents, their friends that they are wrong about them, because then somebody who is that successful and smart wouldn't have been with them. And if you feel drained, confused, or anxious after sex, that gut feeling is your wisdom. And you might feel used, not held, and your body knows when it's not emotionally safe. So listen to your gut feeling. And if you are a woman, you do have a very developed intuition, so trust your inner guidance. Manipulation. Narcissists know how to manipulate people, and it might take a minute until you realize that you are being manipulated. Narcissists might use sex as a tool for manipulation, employing tactics like withholding intimacy to punish or control. They will always tell you who you are and what you believe in to confuse you and make you feel like you are losing it. So if you start questioning whether you are wrong or whether it's happening to you for real and who you are, you don't know like who you are anymore, this is abuse. And the crazy person can easily make you believe that you are crazy. And if you keep believing that you are crazy, at some point you will become a crazy one. So be very careful. Don't believe everything they say and trust yourself more. And lack of emotional intimacy. If after sex he just turn over and fall asleep and he wouldn't hug you, he wouldn't hold your hand, that might be a sign that he is either not emotionally available right now, or he just doesn't have a capacity for intimacy, which is a sign of narcissism. So here's the kicker: a narcissist isn't connecting with you. They are performing. It's all about control, admiration, and ego stroking, not emotional intimacy, because they are simply not capable of intimacy. And another thing that I need to mention, they are very vulgar, right? So they like to discuss how good they are in sex in public. They like to show off talking about sex that you guys have to people who are not even asking about that, you know. And another thing, many of them might look gay or might sound gay, or I mean, I know that there is no such thing that look gay, but you know, like they look more feminine, right? So it's a man that behaves more feminine. I don't know exactly why is that, but this is just statistics. Many people could not believe that my narcissistic ex was actually straight. And I knew a few others that were also like, from the very first sight, you might think he's bisexual or gay, but then when it comes to the point of having sex, okay, like the guy's straight, right? 100%. That's also something to be aware of. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you have had sex with a narcissist, you are not alone, and it's not your fault. But if you know that he is a narcissist, it's better to cut it off now. We are here to talk about the hard stuff with compassion and clarity, but as deeper you go into that, as harder it will be to get out. Let me know in the comments if this hit home or if you want a part 2, where I can tell you a lot more about narcissistic abuse and how to rebuild your sense of sexual self after a narcissistic relationship. So know your worth and invite only healthy people, healthy men into your bed. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with someone who might need this today. Sending love, boundaries, and real connection your way. And I'll see you next time in Bed with Kate.